What you just saw was a glimpse of Dungeon Escape. You are with Kevin in a skeleton riddled dungeon and you need to find a way to the exit. You can watch the full no commentary gameplay at the end of this video. Today, we will look at some of the game design ideas empowering Dungeon Escape. Firstly, my super reliable method of mind mapping. This allows me to start off with a word or a concept and branch out as many things as I can associate with it. Enabling this quantitative downpour of potential ideas, I then revisit this to shorten this list of ideas to a handful before I even touch my desktop to develop. And this is how the escape mind map looked like. So we decided to make Dungeon Escape a combat explorative game. However, the biggest piece of combat plus exploration combo is the pacing. Pacing is still super relevant as it dictates what, when, where, how the player will face enemies, rewards, challenges, safe areas, etc. A general rule of thumb is to interweave difficult areas and the safe areas. But the challenge is to fine tune the balance in progress. For instance, consider we have four levels named L1 to L4, which are increasing in challenge. So if you were to follow the general rule of thumb, it is possible to start the game with a higher difficulty and continue it with decreasing difficulty in order. Will this allow for most players to play longer? Would you be engaged to play a game which put you in this impossible spot? Probably not. So this is where the flow state chart comes in. This is a chart that can evaluate any given game scenario, with the vertical axis talking about player skill, while the horizontal axis compares it with level difficulty, and going right through in the center is the flow state. As designers, we would like the players to be in the flow state. However, it is hard to generalize it for all the audience as different players have varying levels of skills. So, how do you tackle it? So, the idea that I follow is by doing a little back and forth, by keeping the game in low difficulty for the most part to a point where it's almost boring, and then introducing a lot of difficulty and to a point where it gives the player a lot of anxiety and allowing players a lot of time and replayability to overcome this challenge by keeping it fairly the same. This method allows me to interact with the flow state in a lot of regions, whereas allowing this high and low points in players' experience that improves player replayability. And as games, you want your games to be a little bit more replayable. Now, we will look at how this was achieved in the game. And before we do that, I would like to thank all my friends who helped realize Dungeon Escape. You can find more about them in the description of this video. Okay, so that is Kevin, who's sort of following us. I immediately put the players in this in this space where there's no way to go back as the bridge is broken, and the only way is to go forward. And immediately on the left, I have put a reward. Uh, so this is I immediately wanted the players to head into the combat phase, so I give them the sword which the players can equip and attack. Following on, I've put all these fires to the side so that to prohibit players from exiting the intended level path. And then as we try to move ahead, we are immediately in this dungeon where it's like two stairs kind of leading at the same bridge. What I really like about this is it adds a lot more unique layer to it, uh, while not while adding the verticality. Immediately we are faced with the first enemy, skeleton here, and even if you go down, you're gonna go back, which is not really the way. So on the right, the door is closed, and as the players go left, they immediately find another skeleton. So it was all boring in the flow state, and suddenly the challenge is increased, and now the players have to fight their way to go in. This is having to face two enemies. It's already very hard, but as soon as the player do that, there's a sense of accomplishment, and they can progress. Really, the only way is upstairs. Uh, I see the rooms getting darker, and there are two more rooms to the left. This again is another sword, which is a golden one. Just to give players the reward for beating the last two enemies, as well as exploring these not these empty rooms, a reward. And as you reach ahead, which was alright, and now you're suddenly faced with three different skeletons who want to kill you. Again, going back to the flow state chart, managing the pacing where players are feeling kind of good with the game, and then getting rewards for doing that. It is noticeable that I was able to beat these three skeletons faster because I got a little better after killing two of them earlier on. And going behind this large statue, I see a door, which kind of leads me to something. So I close the door, which kind of gives that eerie vibe of a boss battle, and really, so it does have a boss battle, but to trigger it, players need to get this key, and as soon as the player picks it, they have to return, but the path to return is blocked by this huge boss enemy. While this was going, I did play a door sound, which wanted to signify that the door opened up. Not really this one, but the other one, the one in the stairs. I'm gonna try to beat this boss as quickly as possible. The boss does attack, and it is a heavy attack, but for demonstrators purposes I have kept it a little low in attack rate. Okay, so this opens the escape door from the throne room, and now I am backtracking. This is why I wanted the level to have unique areas, so that backtracking is easier and understandable. Players know that they came through this path, and it was a single straight path. And remember, there was a key that I picked from the throne room. The door that was closed initially is now open, and now I see a green fired room with more fire to stop the players from wandering off the path of the level progress. So this is where the climax level is, where the players just go ahead trying to avoid, trying to beat, and then find an exit and win the game. So there it is. That's how the level pacing kind of allowed the grand idea of introducing the challenge after having the players get a little bit bored with the skill, and then give them a lot of challenge, and then gradually increase it to a boss fight, and then slowly pace it out. And now you can enjoy the complete gameplay video with no commentary. Thanks a lot for watching.